Hello, I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters. We hope you'll continue to watch as we discuss issues facing our community and provide you with the resources and information needed to find solutions. Every year, thousands of dogs are neglected and abandoned in North Carolina. But several organizations work around the clock to rescue dogs and find them permanent homes. One such organization is Peak Lab Rescue, based in Apex. Today, we're joined by Heather Johnson, an award-winning dog foster. Heather, welcome to the show.
So I'm Heather, and this is Maya. She's 16. This is Lola. She's 9. And this is Ava, and she's 14.
Heather, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your experience?
We adopted our first dog 6 years ago, and we just fostered her at first to see, if she was a good fit for us. And we fell in love with her right away, and we loved her story that she was found on the side of the road, and a foster picked her up and kept her, and then we actually picked up the dog from that foster, and we fostered her here. And I think right away we fell in love with her, but we loved that we gave her life other than what she would have seen had a foster not picked her up. And so as she got old enough, we kind of waited the whole first year, and then we decided we wanted to try fostering a dog to, that another family would adopt. And so we started out fostering one puppy, and a couple weeks later we found a family for it. And it was so great to see that we could give them something that they loved so much. So then a couple weeks later, we fostered a pair of puppies, and same thing, found families for them, and just handing off these puppies to the families and seeing how happy the families were to, take these dogs in and just watch their life kind of build together was just amazing. And we just kind of built from there. That was 6 years ago and over 200 puppies ago.
Now, you received an award of some sort, Heather. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so just a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, the Petco Foundation recognized us as a national foster hero. So it was amazing. We didn't even know we were nominated for it. I kind of even thought when I got the email that it was just spam. I took a screenshot of it and sent it to our director and said, I just got this. Do you know anything about it? And she called me on the phone and screaming into the phone, oh my gosh, you won. It was a national award. So we've been recognized. We had to submit some videos, some footage, and they shared them on their Facebook feed, and it got a lot of attention for fostering in general. I guess June is National Foster Month, which I didn't know until this all happened. And Petco has shared it, and our rescue that we work with, Peak Lab Rescue, has got a lot of attention from it.
Is the whole family into this? I mean, how are they reacting to fostering?
I think what makes us so special is that the girls are really involved in what we do. Lola's our resident dog / puppy whisperer. When we get scared mamas or puppies, Lola's the first one to go in there and sit and do her homework next to them or read to them. And the big girls are old enough to really help me clean up and give medicine. And when we have puppies in our house, they just become part of our family. We carry them into our family room with us. They snuggle on the couch. And it's just kind of, I used the expression to Sharon like a year ago, maybe. I said, in this family, puppies solve everything. When someone's having, a bad day or something, we've gone to pick up puppies before. Maya, do you want to step up and talk about why it's been?
I think it brings us a lot closer together because we're all there helping out all the time. Sometimes we go to drive to pick up puppies and we're all in the car together holding them and helping each other out. We all really have to work together on this. It's really hard to just do it alone. So it definitely, I would say we've grown a lot closer because of this.
We've had some unfortunate cases with puppies that didn't make it, and things that I didn't necessarily think I wanted my kids to be part of and to see. They stepped up and showed me how strong they were, and their hearts are just amazing, and things that I wasn't sure how we were going to handle it. the maturity and responsibility that they've shown and that they've learned over the past couple of years, it has been something unexpected that's really come from the whole experience.
Now, what should people expect once they become a foster parent?
There's definitely pluses and minuses, but the pluses way outweigh the minuses. I've said to some new fosters before, fostering is always beautiful, but it's not glamorous. Because it is, you prepare for it by getting, with puppies in particular, we use playpens to contain the puppies. Having lots of toys for puppies, just things to entertain the puppies so that they're not chewing on things they're not supposed to. Anything after the puppies have their first round of shots, which is at 6 weeks old, then we start potty training. So that next foster, starting at 6 weeks old, or any puppy after 6 weeks, one of the responsibilities of the foster is starting to potty train that puppy. We just ask that you give as much as you can give. And most importantly, it's loving on the puppies, making them feel secure. If puppies don't come from a home like my house, a lot of our puppies come from shelters, directly from the shelters. So when they arrive, they're really scared. We've had several puppies before that we can't even get them out of the crate because they're so scared out of their mind. But it usually takes probably 24 hours to have the puppy learn to trust us and kind of open up. And we've seen some pretty amazing puppies that have come in trembling, and within 24 hours, they're just a completely different animal.
What are some things we ought to know about fostering?
So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I can't foster. I work all day," or I can't do a puppy. And there's just as many adult dogs that need fosters, and adult dogs, they are trainable, but they can also go a lot longer. So if somebody works, they could still work because an adult dog doesn't have to go to the bathroom every hour. So they're not necessarily displaying puppy tendencies. So chewing on furniture, soiling rugs, people who are worried or they don't feel like they have the time or the energy to devote to fostering a puppy, an adult is a great option.
Why did you get into this? Why is this so important to you?
I really like having the puppies around all the time, and we can always have someone to snuggle with, and you can always play with them. And a lot of my friends, they're always know me as the dog person. They're always like, "Oh, do you have puppies? Do you have puppies?" And I think everyone just likes to come to our house and play with the puppies because I think it makes everyone feel a lot better if something's going on.
People always say, "How many puppies do you have?" They've stopped asking, "Do you have puppies?" They just ask how many puppies we have. What about you, Lola? What's your favorite part of fostering?
I just like knowing they're here and just snuggling with them and reading and doing stuff.
Just snuggling with them. She always has puppies on the couch. She brings them up to her room. Maya, what about you? What's your favorite part?
I think the best part is just the prospect of giving them a whole new life. I think it's really amazing that we're able to give them something that they never would have gotten if they would have stayed in the shelter.
My favorite part of fostering is actually seeing the dogs with their families later on, because we saw how much joy our foster dog, who we foster failed and adopted her, how much joy she brought us. And so we're doing this for other families.
Thanks for joining us, Heather. After the break, we'll be back with the Director of Development of Peak Lab Rescue. Welcome back. Today we're discussing the importance of dog fostering. We're joined by Sharon Gesser of Peak Lab Rescue. Sharon, welcome to the show. Sharon, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us your background and your experience.
I've been with the rescue for about 6 years, and I am responsible for fundraising and sort of the marketing and communications piece of the business. I write grants. We have had great success with getting funding through grants. I also plan events. We have monthly adoption events, which we like to host at breweries because people like to hang out. Obviously, those aren't happening right now. And I do whatever needs to be done. Transport dogs, foster dogs, that sort of thing.
Now, why did you get into this? Why is this so important for you?
So Peak Lab Rescue is special because fostering for us, the foster stay really is only about 2 to 3 weeks. As soon as the dogs are over a medical quarantine, they seem to go very fast. So this is something that's a short-term commitment, and PCLAB provides everything you need, food, and if you need a crate and a leash and all that sort of stuff. So we try to make it not cost people any money, and it's just so rewarding.
So how does Peak Lab function differently from all the others?
One of the things about PCLAB Rescue is because we are large, we can do things that maybe other rescues don't. We can consider dogs who have maybe orthopedic injuries or illnesses or advanced age. We're really committed to saving senior dogs and also providing the behavioral support of someone like Andres. I think a larger rescue has those kind of resources. We currently have several hundred registered fosters, and about 75 to 100 dogs are in our program at any one time. We save 1,000 dogs a year, and we have 3 vets. Now we've added a 3rd vet to help with all of the services that require. So we're larger. We like to use our resources to go out to counties that are farther away from Raleigh, some of the smaller, more rural shelters where other rescues might not be able to go, that have no foot traffic, and really the only hope for dogs in those shelters is a rescue placement. So we love to help out places that really need, that have a higher euthanasia rate and really need rescue partners.
Sharon, we hear the phrase, adopt, don't shop. How does that resonate with you?
North Carolina euthanizes more dogs than every state except California and Texas. And if you think about how much larger the populations are of California and Texas, that's a pretty appalling statistic. The rate is going down. It's been going down for 20 years. All of the rescues in the state are working very hard to end dog homelessness in our state. Dog homelessness is a complex problem. What we've learned is that it has to do with lack of resources in rural area, financial resources, and it also has to do with lack of spay-neuter resources in rural areas. There are plenty of counties that don't have a veterinarian or a low-cost spay-neuter clinic. It's a lack of education around spay-neuter and understanding, what the impact is of having an unaltered dog. It's a lack of leash laws. There are dogs running at large that are not licensed or required to be leashed in some counties. There is no state law in North Carolina that says you have to fix your dog or you have to leash your dog. So if they're out running at large and they're not fixed, you can predict what the outcome's going to be. I think that people the generation of my children probably will never go to a breeder. They feel compelled to give a dog a home that would otherwise be euthanized. My background is service dogs. I certainly understand that there is a perfect right for breeders. But for most people who are looking for a family pet, adopt, don't shop is a perfect mantra. And fostering allows you to make a 2 or 3 week commitment to take a dog out of a shelter, to change a life. It's not a long-term commitment. We try to give you the things you need, a crate or food or leash. And you get to meet amazing people. People say to me, how do you let them go? And I'll tell you, it's work. You're ready to let them go. And I love the people that I've met that have adopted my dogs. Some of them keep up with updates to me and send photos. And we have every August a big reunion that about 300 people and about 150 dogs attend. It's at a local lake. And the dogs can swim, and you can see your old foster dogs, and mama dogs can reunite with their puppies.
Well, I imagine like any organization, you need funds. How do you raise funds?
We seek out funds every way you can imagine. We have some corporate partners that are amazing. When we have events, we get sponsorships. Individual donations are by far and away our largest source of income. Peer-to-peer fundraising, Facebook fundraisers. Sometimes we have silent auctions and other kinds of events. It's a well-rounded effort, and it takes everything to add it up.
So Sharon, I'm sure there's a lot of people watching that can't foster but would love to help you. How can they do that?
If you want to help out right now and you really can't foster, you can make a monetary donation. We can always use monetary donations because our veterinary costs for each dog exceed what we can charge in an adoption fee. So my fundraising job is part of making up the difference between that. Every dog that comes to PCLAB Rescue goes immediately to the vet. They get a full physical, just like what you would do for your personal pet. They get shots, they get a fecal to see what parasites they're hit with. So a monetary donation is always welcome. We do accept gently used dog supplies, beds and crates and whatever. And we always can use dog food. We have to buy dog food. We get a lot of donations, but we order between 700 and 900 pounds of dog food a month. So if people want to donate IAMS large breed dog or puppy food, or Pro Plan large breed puppy food, dog food, we'd love to have that as well. If people would like more information about Peak Lab Rescue, we would invite you to check out peaklabrescue.com. Everything you need to know is on there. Take a minute and look at the transport options. We would love to have people go out to shelters and bring dogs back if you can't foster or adopt right now. Most of our transports are under 2 hours, and it's so rewarding to pick up a dog at a shelter and bring them back and just see how grateful and happy they are. But hit up peaklabrescue.com or email info@peaklabrescue.com if you need to contact us. So here's a sample of our work. This little guy has swimmer puppy syndrome. He's got mobility issues in the back end of his body, so he's going to have physical therapy and lots of rehabilitation. It will be weeks and weeks, but he will eventually hopefully be available to adopt.
Thank you for joining us, Sharon. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be back with tips from one of the area's leading canine trainers. Welcome back. Andres Melo of Camp Canine Training is joining us to discuss his experience training rescue dogs. Andres, welcome. Andres, thanks for being here. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Give me the background on your experience.
The main reason is because I wanted to be able to pick up girls and talk to them. So I was like, I'll get a dog. I think this would be the best thing ever. And I got the prettiest puppy that you can get, which is a Siberian Husky. And I got her off of Craigslist. I didn't do any research on the breed. I didn't know anything about backyard breeding. I didn't know anything about training. I just decided to get a dog just to get a dog. A couple weeks fast forward, and the Husky is resource guarding. She's super aggressive. She's running away, and she almost got hit by a car on I-40. And I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And I was doing a lot of clicker training, a lot of food motivated stuff. And it was working, but it wasn't what I wanted out of the dog. And I was like, I definitely don't want to have an aggressive dog. And I got into the Google wormhole. I got into YouTube. I got into a bunch of books, and I came across the negative motivation aspects of things: your leashes, your pinch collars, and your e-collars. And I was the type of person that I'd said, I'm never gonna correct my dog. I think that's the worst thing ever. But I got to a point where, like, my dog literally almost died because they almost got hit by a car. So there had to be something else. After reading a bunch and figuring out how these tools actually worked and how I was able to communicate better with my dog, I was able to fix all her behaviors and have her off leash in 3 weeks. And it got to the point where I was going to parks and I was going places and people were asking for my business card. They were like, your dog is really well behaved. Can you have a business card? I'm like, I'm not a dog trainer. I'm just some guy who wanted to fix the dog's behavior. That continued to happen. More people were asking for it. And I was like, maybe there's a market for this. Maybe there's a business. So I didn't want to take the basic knowledge that I just got offline to create a business. I wanted to do the best of the best. So I found a bunch of schools, and I came across a school in St. Louis, and they do a lot of police canine work. And I signed up for their 6-month program, and I went there for 6 months, and for 6 days a week, for 12-hour days, all I did was learn about puppy obedience, narcotics, scent and tracking, police canine, bite work. You name it, on leash, off leash, behavior, all that stuff. So when I came back, I had already business knowledge from other businesses that I had owned and connecting with people and doing all these things. And then I had the dog training aspect of everything. So then I just combined those, and now here I am. And another big thing is, between when I was doing the positive only type thing and trying to fix my dog behavior, I reached out to a couple of trainers in the Raleigh area, a little bit in Durham, and every trainer I called said, you got a Husky, what'd you expect? We're not going to touch that dog. And my kind of the biggest thing there was, like, I was calling for help and I was willing to pay somebody for services, and nobody was willing to help me out. And then that just kind of triggered a lot of light bulbs, and then just the ball kind of started rolling from there.
Now, what's it like working with foster dogs?
One of the biggest things that I see with the rescue dogs is they get too much freedom too soon, too much affection, too many rewards because we feel bad as humans, right? Like, oh, you've had a crappy life, you've been in kennels, you've been this, you've been that, and then we end up giving a lot of freedom. So I call a lot of my clients trust fund parents, because they give treats and they give foods and they give a lot of freedom and they do all these things, and the dog earns the love, but they never earn the respect, you know? And very quickly, when I start working with foster parents and foster dogs, I'm like, have the respect, earn the trust, and then the love can always come later.
Now, are there differences between puppies and working with adult dogs?
Most clients will get their dogs between like 8 and 10 weeks. And a common question is, when do I start training? And I tell them yesterday, right? Like, start doing a lot of training from the beginning. If you build a solid foundation from the get-go, that's what the puppy knows. So that's when things start falling apart in life. That's what the dog knows. That's what the dog is going to fall back on, right? That is the foundation of everything. With older dogs, it doesn't mean that you can't train him. Like, I've had a dog through my program that was 14 years of age, and he went through my program and he killed it. The thing with that is now the dog has 14 years of bad behaviors, bad habits, bad everything else. So you have to stay consistent long enough to get rid of those, and then consistent long enough to build new ones.
What are some of the different kinds of programs you offer?
Pretty straightforward. I have private lessons and I have board and trains. My private lessons are 5 lessons that are one-on-one, and they're about an hour each. And that will take you from wherever you're at to whatever the goals are. So I've had people that have dogs that are, running away, they're pulling, they're barking, even some bite cases. And then in 5 lessons, the dog is off leash walking in downtown. The number one thing I tell clients when they're looking to hire me is you're hiring a human trainer first, which is 80% of the program, and 20% of the program is dog training, right? Dog training is super easy. So as long as you can have good timing, you find what motivates your dog and you can stay consistent, anything is possible. But people miss the timing, aren't manipulating things as much. So it's me really teaching the human on, like, have a good collar, have a good leash. People get really tense. The dog gets really active. They pull on the leash. The dog's freaking out. You put the dog into fight and flight, and then everything's just going south. Like, no, teach the dog to follow the leash, just like reins on a horse.
Do you have any quick tips for people out there with a dog and how to train them?
I'm going to give people 3. Well, the first one's going to be crate. The second one's going to be food. And the third one's going to be climb. So we'll talk about crate training. Crate training is huge. It doesn't matter if we have a 6-week-old puppy or a 15-year-old dog. I think crate training is an amazing thing. I think people don't crate enough. Most people look at it as a mean thing where they don't want to crate too much, but it gives a place for the dog to learn to be, right? Their state of mind is always wired. They always want to follow. They always want to get affection. They always want to cuddle, and they never have just a place to learn to be. And for the next 15 years, the dog is going to go through a lot of changes. I mean, look what's happening now, right? Like, people are home because of this pandemic, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls now because dogs are anxious, because mom, dad are always home, always home, always home, always home. Things are starting to go back to normal. And then the dog's like, wait, you guys are always home. What do you mean I have to be by myself? And then the dog's barking, eating things, jumping on the counter. They're barking. You're getting noise complaints. So crate training is definitely a must, right? A lot of crate training, right? With bathroom breaks in between, of course, right? The second one is food. I think people use a lot of treats when they can be using the dog's kibble. The daily kibble is their money. So positive side of training, there's food and there's toys and there's affection. So again, like we talked a little bit earlier, I call a lot of my trust from parents because they give. So they give breakfast, they give treats, they give affection, they give food at the end. And like, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the dog made $1,000. And then you tell the dog to sit, and the dog's like, do you have bacon treats? Oh, you don't have bacon treats? No, it's okay. I'm not going to do the behavior, right? So it's get rid of the food bowl, especially if you have a puppy. Like I tell my puppy clients, up until the age of like 6 months, your puppy should not know what a food bowl is. Every piece of kibble should come out of your hand. And then the climb. The climb is probably my favorite command. Not a lot of people have heard of it. People sometimes use it as a climb, or it could also be called a place command. And all it really is just an elevated dog bed where I teach the dog to get up. And the rules on the climb are no jumping, no barking, and no getting off. So when I teach a client how to utilize a leash properly, and when I teach people or a dog how to stay on a climb, 95% of the things I get called for are out the window. Most of the in-home behaviors that I get called for are jumping, rushing the door, barking at people, going out in the backyard, chasing the cat, nagging the kids, right? All these things. If the dog is on a climb and they're not allowed to get off, then they can't do these things. So now the doorbell rings. I can say, hey, buddy, Fido, go climb. Fido climbs. I give him affection. And then I can go open the door, receive the pizza, sign for the FedEx package, greet the guest, sit down with the family, have dinner, watch the movie without the dog just being all up in my face, right? Without having to crate the dog as much. So it gives a place for the dog to learn to be. And then once the dog has completed the allowed time, then you can let it up on the couch, let it up on the bed, give them the freedom, but there's a balance. You have to work for it. Then I give you freedom.
I'm sure people are wondering, how can I get a hold of you? So how can they get a hold of you?
There's several ways. I mean, social media, my Facebook, my YouTube, my Instagram, it's all Camp Canine Training, the letter K, the number 9. My website, same thing, www.campcaninetraining.com. And then you can fill out the free eval form. I can get in contact with you. We can talk more about your dog and your goals and expectations, and then figure out what the best human program is. A lot of questions people ask is like, well, what's the best program for me and my dog? It's like, it's not about your dog. It's about what are you willing to do? Are you willing to put in the work, or do you want me to do the hard part?
Thank you for watching today. We hope you've enjoyed the show. To view this and other episodes of Community Matters, visit our websites at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay. Thank you for watching Community Matters. See you next week.